What's up, everybody? Richard from TrueShot here, and thank you for tuning in to the 18th episode of the TrueShot Guest Spot Podcast. And on today's show, we have the vocalist for the band Degrader, Mr. Liam Geary. And not only is Liam on the podcast, but this is the first guest that I've had that is local to where I live in New Hampshire. Liam is from Massachusetts, so this is the first ever guest we've had on the podcast that's from our neck of the woods, and I'm very excited to talk to him in this episode because I finally got to talk to him about some of the local stuff that's going on, but I also talked to him about Degrader because they've been kind of quiet lately. So I wanted to know what was going on, and we also talked about how I first met Liam, which is when he was filling in for Extortionist on a tour that TrueShot opened for. Hope you enjoy the podcast, and without further ado, here is Liam Geary from Degrader.
You decide and you can't run from it. No one in front of the gun behind the bullet, bitch.
Liam Geary, what's up, man? Welcome to, I believe this is like the 18th or 19th episode of the TrueShot Guest Spot. I'm not keeping track, but what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Rich? Thank you for having me, dude. I'm chilling. Funny because both 18 and 19 are my lucky numbers, so let's rock.
Well, I mean, you're definitely one of them. I know that. So there you go, man. Dude, I'm pumped to talk to you. I mean, because I don't think we've talked a little bit here and there. Because for those of you that are watching or listening that aren't really familiar, Liam and I are from the same neck of the woods. We're both from New England. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Liam, just in case. I mean, obviously, people watching this will probably have a decent idea of who you are, but just in case.
Right. Well, I'm Liam Geary, and I sing for a band called Degrader, based out of Boston, Massachusetts. I've known Rich for a while. We've been homies, internet friends, but yeah, like you said, really only had short conversations in passing when we've met at shows and stuff. So this is like our first time to really like dig deep and get into some good conversation.
Yeah, and I think you're the first person I've had on that's really kind of like local to me. I've had on some other people.
Where in Mass are you?
What's that?
Are you in Massachusetts?
I'm in New Hampshire, but I'm in Seabrook. I'm in Seabrook, so I'm like right on the Salisbury, Mass line. So I'm like 2 minutes away. But yeah, no, man, you're like the first local person I've had on. So I'm pumped to talk to you because then we can kind of talk about a little bit of like the local stuff going on, and because I like talking about that stuff outside of my echo chamber of TrueShot, So it's pretty cool to get other people's perspectives. But yeah, man, no, like you said, I think the first time I think I spoke to you, you might not even remember this because we've played together, but not with Degrader. You were with.
No, I do know. It was when I was filling in for Extortionist at the Bungalow.
Correct.
That was the first time we met. You didn't really have much of a beard back then.
Yeah, I've always had a beard, but differing lengths. Yeah.
Short. Yeah.
I've had it bigger than this too. I'm trying to find like that one good length. You know what I'm saying?
And TrueShot played that show.
Yeah, we were.
That tour was weird for me, man. That's a weird tour.
Yeah.
It's weird to be on tour. That was the second time that I've done that where I filled in for another band. And it's such like a unique experience because like a lot of the stressing that comes with tour, like, oh, we got to be on time. Oh, we got to do this. Oh, we got to do that.
Yeah.
It's gone. You don't have to worry about any of that because like you're literally like I was just along for the ride. Like if we were late, I was like, oh, doesn't matter. Like it didn't matter to me. You know what I mean? It like alleviated a lot of the extra stresses that press on, especially being like, I mean, everybody knows it's kind of like an unsaid thing that like every band has like the team captain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of like my role for my band where I take on like a lot of the bulk of responsibility. You seem to be like that guy for your band where you take on.
I'd say so.
Get the hard work done for the band, and so not having to deal with like all of that shit that I'm always doing.
Just coasting.
Is fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, so I'll start there real quick before I dive into some Degrader stuff with you because with Extortionist, obviously I know that they not disbanded, but they went defunct for a little bit, and now they're making a comeback, which is pretty exciting because they're a sick band. What was it like filling in for them? Like learning. I mean, I know that from one vocalist to another, I'm sure that you write the lyrics for Degrader. What was that like trying to learn the lyrics for another band?
Dude, I actually like really struggled there was a couple songs that
Yeah, I
was
could
like, really
imagine.
familiar with. The newer stuff, like the most recent record they put out, I kind of picked that up quick. But I
Mhm.
remember I like really put it off. I like really procrastinated like learning all the songs.
Yeah,
And Ben, the singer of the band, he was so professional. He sent me like a big Google Doc of
yeah.
like all the lyrics and the order of the set.
Oh, damn.
And my buddy Carl, who was playing for guitar for the
Yeah,
Extortionist at the time, he
yeah.
was telling me that the dude. So I didn't do the whole tour; I only did half of it, and the first half, some other dude did it, and they were saying that like he sounded exactly like Ben. He's like a clone of Ben, and I
Oh.
was like, that ain't me. That's just not my style. But I
Right.
like, so I was like kind of nervous getting into it, and I like had a lot of trouble like remembering a whole new set list. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like a whole
yeah.
7 song set of words that like I didn't write, and it's like all the like the first show I definitely like skipped a bunch of lines just because I was like, oh, I cannot remember what is here. But
Yeah.
kind of like what the band told me was like it was just like a new flavor of extortionist, you know what I mean? Because I was kind of doing my thing, like doing Ben's thing in my own way, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I remember being on the flight to Philadelphia for my first show, like just repeating songs in my headphones like the whole flight there, and like just like nonstop reading these words, and then like going to put a show, and then like the parts that I was struggling
Oh,
would come up, and
dude.
I'd be like, oh, I do not know this.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done anything like that, but I mean, I can only imagine it's a totally different animal. You know, listening to it on headphones versus you're up on stage with people looking
Dude,
at
it
you, and you're
is.
like, and you not only just you remember the words, we have to remember how they're enunciated and
Exactly.
everything, and
Exactly.
like the tempo of that to me would f me up.
Dude, it was super difficult. And like I said, I've filled in for other bands before. Like I did a tour with Burials, I played guitar for them.
Yeah,
That was not nearly as hard. Like learning songs on guitar.
yeah,
Like I don't know, something about it. Like guitar is more like mathematical to me,
yeah,
where it's like 2 plus 2 is 4. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's like there's rules, but like when you're singing, the rules go out the window. You know, everybody's got their own thing going. So, but it was fun. Every show we got a little better, we got a little more dialed in,
Yeah,
and going on that tour with Extortionists actually led. So when they broke up,
yeah.
uh,
Carl joined Degrader, right?
Carl joined Degrader. It was kind
Yeah,
of a crazy series of events. So we played last year. We played South by So What Fest in Texas,
yep.
and our guitarist at the time like couldn't make it out because he had prior obligations, and we were just like there, and we were like, we need to figure this out, like 'cause we're here. And Extortionist playing South by So What the day after us, but they were going to be there, and I hit up Carl. I was like, dude, I need you to learn like 6 songs by tomorrow. And he crushed it. He learned it. When we were assigned to Stay Sick, they had like an Airbnb, so me and Jay were staying there, and the Extortionist dudes like came through, and I remember like me and Carl just like dialed in. I taught him everything, and like one night we played the set, he crushed it, and then like very shortly after that, Extortionist finished their tour, and then they went on their hiatus,
Right.
and Carl was a free agent, so I was like, yep,
You
that
signed
shit
him,
was it.
locked him
Yeah,
up.
basically.
10-year contract, baby.
Facts.
So okay, you threw in a word there that I can't just gloss over. You said when we were signed to Stay Sick, because obviously I know Stay Sick isn't it's Modern Empire now. So
Right.
do you mean that you're just with the Modern Empire, or are you guys free agents?
No, we are with Modern Empire.
Okay, okay,
Which the guys that are running the show over there are super cool. They take wicked good care of us. As far as like all that Stay Sick mess, that it really doesn't concern us because we're just it's business
right,
to us. And as far as like contracts go, you can't always you just can't always control like outside influence. You
right.
know what I mean? And we're happy with how we're being taken care of. It was a no-brainer to keep that relationship going. And they did the two song single that we put out earlier this year, and
Right.
that went extremely well. So it was really a no-brainer for us to keep that going with them.
Yeah. No, Kendall from Dead Crown. I had him on a while ago because he does a lot of design stuff for us. But yeah, he spoke very highly of everybody over there. Like everything's just very fair. There's no trickery going on to try to
No,
screw you out of money or
it's
anything?
super upfront, dude. Because I mean, I can be pretty honest and say that like our last record like didn't do as well as I was hoping, and I'm sure as the label
Oh,
was hoping
really?
that it would do.
Yeah.
But you know, despite that, they like saw the potential in us, and they were like, let's keep growing. And really, I think what's important about that label is all the bands that are signed, like they're really invested in developing the artists rather than like making
Yeah.
a quick buck, which I feel like a lot of smaller labels do, where they just like sign a lot of bands and
And just hope to see what works.
well, yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't feel that way. You know what I mean? I feel like the people working over there are really invested in Degrader and want to see where, you know, this ends up in the long run.
Well, I would
So man,
say,
cheers to that.
yeah, no, because I would say that I can tell that I think the guys over at Modern Empire, I can tell that they like the bands because I'm not saying that all you guys sound the same. I would never say that, but you guys have like that sound. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
For sure.
That
It's like one of the more notable like metalcore labels. You know
right.
what I mean? There's not a lot
Exactly.
of like bigger labels that kind of sign all metalcore.
Yeah, I mean, like Sharp Tone is one, but they've kind of branched out a little bit.
hmm
But
They kind of had the like Christcore thing going on for a little bit too, where they were like signing a lot of like. Oh no,
you're thinking of
I'm thinking
Solid
of Solid
State.
State.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not,
Sharp Tones with like Polaris and Currents and
yeah.
Amure and
They
bands
have a
like
lot of good. They have a lot of good metalcore bands.
yeah,
And but then like Pure Noise is like the one for like the more like hardcore influence
yeah,
metalcore bands.
like a Knocked Loose or something
Yeah,
like
or
that.
like
Yeah,
Left Behinds.
yeah, yeah. It's
That more
interesting.
like metallic type. I love that shit, dude.
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean, that's why with our songs, we've kind of done a few different things. But like our track that we did, Paradigm, I was like, I kind of want to have like that, kind of like that.
Yeah, you guys had some of those like
Yeah,
rating elements in that
yeah.
track. That was a really cool track.
Yeah, I wanted some of that stuff because, like, you know, obviously, I don't know how much we can talk about this band anymore, but I was a big fan of Dealer. You know, when they
For
were
sure.
around. That's the last time I saw you, actually.
It was, dude.
Yeah,
I went
I
out to go see. I didn't even get to see their set.
yeah, I did. I, if I'm being honest, you know, I think that I'll just say this: that those Dealer songs, just listening to them, are hard to replicate live from a vocal performance. I'll put it
Think
that way.
so?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, just from listening to it, I mean, it's very fast, but
Yeah, it is.
but yeah, no, I was there because at the time, you know, we had Aiden featured on a track, and I was trying to get my stuff from him because I just couldn't, because like they were, you know, they were touring, and it took a little while to get it, and then he had it, but it was on like a drive, and I'm just like, oh my god, so
It's always something, isn't it?
dude,
Dude?
it was
Like that.
it's quite the tale,
Yeah, I
but
hear you.
now, you know, it's too bad, but you know, anyways, we'll
It
gloss.
is what it is.
Yeah,
you
we'll
know what I
gloss
mean?
over that. But yeah, man, no, like I said, I'm stoked to have you on because you're a local guy. We've never, like I said, we've never played with, you know, a TrueShot and Degrader show, but like
No,
I
but
said,
we will.
we
But we will.
we
But
will. Dude, I'm
will.
telling you, I mean, I know this is technically your show, but I just want to quickly say for the people listening out there, True Shot's next track, I'm just telling you right now, is gonna blow you away. But anyways,
Believe it.
nah,
Believe it.
but dude, I gotta be honest with you though. Like I'm surprised. So going back to what you said about the album not doing as well, because I gotta say first and foremost, Ouroboros. I think that's how you pronounce it. I dug that track. I like that track. I like Fang a lot off of your record. I really like.
Thank you.
I think Fang is probably my favorite track off of that. Because so looking at it now, like when I look at like you know, releasing music, because we've been releasing a lot of singles. Now, what is your your stance on that? The singles route versus the album route? I know that with I
I
know that
love it.
I know
I
that
think that
yeah
each different type of release serves a different purpose.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing like being like super popular right now is like bands releasing a lot of singles when they're releasing a record. Like Fit for King just like dropped a record and they did like not the most recent one, but the one before. I think they did like 6 singles.
oh they did a
Out of,
ton
like yeah, but it worked.
Yeah, oh
right?
yeah.
Their Spotify numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're seeing like a lot of influx of bands just doing smaller releases, and I think that that can be super useful. That's why we did the 2-track, because
Yeah.
we've always done like full records, whether it was an EP or an album. But we kind of coming off the feelings that we had from the last record that we did, we were like, we need to just like do like a quick reset. And we have been kind of quiet after we dropped that record because it kind of fell short.
I was gonna get into we'll get into that with you, but yeah, go ahead, keep going.
So, you know, coming off of those feelings, we were like, let's just do what we really want to do, and keep the message like short and sweet, and just do 2 tracks, and like kind of evolve in these 2 tracks and show people like where the direction we want to take is. And then once we like kind of dropped those tracks, saw how they did, see how they were received, which was easily the best anything Degrader related has ever been received. It was like awesome, a really good feeling.
Yeah.
So like, all right, now it's time to do a record. You know what I mean? So I kind of view them as different forms of expression, whereas like singles are kind of like a taste, and they're like really enticing, and they draw people in, and they get your momentum going. Yeah. And then when you feel that you have people's attention, it's a good time to drop a record. You know what I mean? And you know, in hindsight, I don't know if Burn You, Burn We was like meant to be the debut full length of Degrader. There was a little bit of miscommunication with a lot of the people that were working with Degrader at the time. Not on anybody's fault. It was just, you know, sometimes you end up working with somebody and they have a different idea for your band than you do. I remember when we signed to Stay Sick. Let's just get into it. We'll get into Burn You, Burn We. This is kind of like how I feel about it. Because I never really had the opportunity to talk about it like in a more public platform. But when we signed with Stay Sick Records, we had never met anybody from the label, and our manager at the time was the one who kind of put it together. And it was Modern Empire Management, actually, at the time. And there was a lot of cool bands that were working with them. So, you know, when they reached out to us, it was a no-brainer. And they kind of put the whole Stay Sick Records thing together. And from that point on, like, not like a power shift, but I just kind of felt like creative control got kind of like held above Degrader's head in a way, where a lot of the people we were working with like felt like they wanted to mold us into a particular vision or whatever that they had.
Interesting.
But, you know, it's important to keep in mind, and I said this repeatedly, but like we've done everything ourselves. You know, we've recorded all of our releases ourselves. We've booked all our own shows. You know, we had a really close friend book a tour until we had an agent. So like everything was very DIY. Yeah. And we got signed doing DIY, like everything on our own. And then as soon as we got signed, it was like I didn't get to make decisions for my own band anymore, which was definitely frustrating. And we were told like we were going to be doing they wanted like a 8-track EP. So we wrote like I think 10 or 11 songs for an 8-track EP that was going to be Burn You, Burn We. We always try to go into the studio like with more than we need. Right. And coming out of it, like we were in the studio and they were like, "Oh, we actually like need a full length." And we were like, "Well, we didn't really like write enough, but it just ended up being that way." You know what I mean? We just had to make it work.
Gotcha.
And we really wanted to do it on our own. Like we had done everything else on our own, and we wanted to send it out to get it mixed. And we were kind of like told, like, "No, you're gonna go do it with Shane Frisbee." And Shane's an awesome guy, and he's a super awesome producer, and he like kills it. But in the end, I felt like ultimately it wasn't, it just wasn't the best match for the band. And it doesn't really have anything to say about, you know, Shane's skill as a producer or anything like that, because he's done some of my favorite albums and he's done some killer mixes. But I just felt like it just wasn't necessarily the best fit, and it wasn't like what I had envisioned for the band. And like the songs on the record, like Fang, I love. Spirit Bomb's a song. Like I feel like the songs are awesome, but the record, as like when you're listening to it, is just like kind of falls short of what I envisioned for the band.
You mean production wise or flow wise, or just
kind of like just everything. You know what I mean? Okay. We didn't get to do live drums on the record, and that was like kind of like an iffy thing for me. I just kind of felt like because of the way we had to do the record, why couldn't we just do it ourselves? You know what I mean? So we'll fast forward a little bit. We do the album release tour with Born Anew, and it goes a lot better than we had expected considering outside circumstances. And I was like, okay, this is actually not that bad. But then, you know, after that tour finished, we kind of like chilled, and we were thinking about, you know, getting in the flow of like touring more regularly. But we really weren't feeling too confident about the record. And it was like, how can we how can we tour like regularly throughout this year when we like don't even really like what the product that we're trying to sell. So that was what led to us like kind of having a more low key year. We only did a couple weekend runs. We've been like a moderately active band as far as touring goes, but 2019 was definitely the year that we slowed down a little bit and kind of like readjusted. That's when Carl joined the band, and that was also when Ryan left the band. So there was a lot
Yeah.
of just uh, shifts in dynamics that we had to get used to that we weren't ready for. And that was the moment where, so we played So What Fest, Carl joined the band, and Ryan left the band, and we had some downtime. You know, there's nothing on the plate really that we're like setting our sights on, and we were just like, let's just do some songs. Let's just do some songs the way we want to do them, with who we want to do them with. And I
Right.
remember we were at So What Fest, and that was when I got to meet everybody from Stay Sick. And Mike Milford,
Right.
shout out, my fucking boy. Day two, like the day after we played, he and I were like sitting at the Stay Sick tent. They were doing like a meet and greet or whatever, and I was just kind of chilling out there with him talking. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, like you guys are fucking sick. Like I thought you were like band type A, but then I saw you yesterday, and you're actually band type B, and I didn't know that." And I was like, "Yeah, man, like I know we haven't like met, not for nothing, but like everything we've done up until this point was like on our own accord. Like we put it in place, and then we started this relationship, and like then we started doing things like your way, which I totally understand you wanting it to be that way. But if this is going to continue, and if we're going to continue like this, like record deal, this relationship, you got to let us do things like our way, and like let us finish out our vision, and then you guys can fucking like do whatever you want with it. You know what I mean? Like you can make it pop or whatever, but it's got to be done our way, or it's just not going to work, because we're not the type of people that can just like fit into a mold. Like we've always kind of done things our own way. We've always kind of, I feel like, gone against the current in regards to like what's the most popular with like current style choices in metalcore and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've just like always done things our way. So I was like, dude, let's just be real. Like this album is like not what either of us thought it was going to be. Like the band nor the label, like expectations fell short, and it is what it is. Like we can point fingers or create excuses all we want, but it's like, what are we going to do from here? And I said to him, I was like, dude, let me go do like two songs, like exactly how I want to do them, who I want to do them with, and let's just see what happens. And if it's sick, like let's keep this going. And if not, then maybe it just wasn't meant to be. And he was like, no, like I can do that. Like we can make that happen. So hit up Matt Guglielmo, who works down at Belleville, New Jersey, the studio that Will Putney runs, Graphic Nature. Matt's mixing out of there. And he had done some singles for Downswing and just a ton of bands that we're friends with and look up to have done awesome records down there. So we were like, it's a no-brainer. Ethan Harrison from Great American Ghost was managing us for a short time.
Oh, cool.
And he kind of put it together where he got us set up to do the two singles there. And it was like love at first chug, dude. Like Matt, a nasty drummer. He's done tours with Spite, Acacia Strain, Straight from the Path. And I think, the best part of Degrader is our drummer. I think our drums like really glue everything together. And that was the first time we ever got to do live drums on tracks, and getting to see Josh like play on the drums with the input from a drummer producer was like they were just going back and forth, trading ideas. And Ouroboros was actually like just meant to be like a set intro that I wrote for the Burn You Burn Me release tour. Yeah. And then it like turned into a full song over time. And I was like, this is fucking dope. We were in the studio and everything was like coming together. And also, dude, I don't know if have you ever been there to Graphic Nature?
No, I've never been. No,
dude, I like nicknamed it Metalcore HQ because it is. Dude,
yeah, that is definitely the spot that I would go if whenever we would go to a studio.
You need to.
Yeah, because we record everything ourselves, like just in Adam's basement, and then we send it out to Lance Prince, who does like Alpha Wolf and Polaris, and he mixes it and stuff.
He's a fire producer too.
Yeah, he is so good. I just wish we could be in like a studio with him, but Australia, kind of some logistical challenges there.
Coming from a band where we kind of operate the same way, like very DIY, let me tell you that there was nothing more game changing than being in the studio with a producer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He looked me in the eyes, bro, and he goes, "Yeah, that sucks."
No, and dude, I say it all the time. Like I want that, and I say that to the guys in my band all the time.
Goes, "Yeah, that is bad." And your heart, dude. The first 2 days, we just did a new full length album, and the first 2 days were all like pre-pro days. We went in with a lot of material between me and Carl, and Jay also wrote a couple tracks, and we were like very equipped and ready to do a full length album this time around. We were very prepared.
Yeah,
and I remember. I forget what band it was. I feel like some band was in the studio, and this is like right at the beginning of like lockdown quarantine, so we weren't allowed in at the same time as the other band. So we did the pre-pro at Matt's house, and he has a really nice setup there. So I mean, it's not like it was a big deal or weird or anything, but we're going like through every track, and we wrote more songs than we needed for the record, so we're trying to narrow down like our picks, and like I forget what it was, but like we straight up like started arguing over the drums on this one track. Because Jay has like a very like linear drum style, but he's always in the pocket. But it's kind of like particular, and like we obviously don't do live drums for like our demos and stuff. Like I program it all, and I feel like some things just don't translate very well on the program drums versus the actual drummer behind the kit.
Yeah,
and like he like looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, that is stupid. That is stupid. You're not doing that." And we all like looked at each other like, yo, there was some moments where like I had to be like, I'm leaving the room. I'm like pissed. I'm pissed off.
But that's good though. I mean, the resistance though is good though because it makes the final product better.
It did. We were like fighting each other straight up over like which songs were going on the record, which parts were good, what needed to change, like. So what's wrong with my song? What's wrong with my song, bro?
Yeah. Well, and I've said that to my guys too. I'm like, if I'll whenever if we do get signed, I would definitely go into a studio like that, like a higher level studio, just because I mean, cost wise, as a DIY band, I mean, we got kids, Yeah, it'd be pricey, but no,
being taken care of is nice.
Yeah.
It is nice.
Yeah,
sure.
no, and that's great, and I'm glad that you guys are obviously using that to a good advantage going to a studio such as that one. But I say to my guys all the time, I'm like, like it's nice doing this all ourselves, but we're in our own echo chamber. We listen to these songs 50,000 times.
You don't even realize it until you have that like. And here's the thing: is like we've worked with other people, but it wasn't until it was like Matt. In particular, to look at us and be like, dude, that is not it.
Yeah.
To be like,
dude, I say all the time.
Right. Like, maybe that isn't it.
I say all the time, I want somebody to tell me what I'm doing sucks. Because like if I'm doing it right on the first time, it's just not, I don't believe that it's right on the first try. I just don't, I've convinced myself that it's just not possible for what I'm doing. Because like even when I send our stuff, well Adam, he sends it off to Lance to be mixed and mastered. I'm like, just let me know, the vocals okay? Well, this one right
exactly.
Like I just need anything, just give me something. He's like, nah, takes are good. And I'm like, I don't believe you.
So literally be in the booth, record. Dude, I also have always recorded all my vocals on my own until working like with producers, obviously. And to like belt something out and have the dude be like, "Nah, it's trash. You need to do that again."
You feel like you got the headphones on. You're like, and you're just like, yeah. And he's like, no. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, straight up, dude. Straight up. But also, it can be, dude, from singer to singer, it's hard work to do an album, dude.
Oh, I've never done an album, obviously,
dude,
but
it's hard.
Yeah.
Dude, yo, we were there. You know what I mean? We were there for 2 weeks.
You got to do it.
Exactly. We would wake up every day at like 9 o'clock, go get coffee, go to the studio, clock in, and then like the earliest that we ever left the studio was 11 o'clock.
Oh my God.
One time we left at 11 o'clock. We were like, all right, early night. Like, please, early night.
Yeah, because, I mean, the voice can only go for so long, but, I mean, if you're there for that long, you're taking breaks, you're doing your thing.
I had to do like 2 songs a day starting like half a week into it. So I was doing two
Damn.
songs. Like I was just doing vocals every single day. And then obviously like I play like a heavy part in the writing of Degrader in general. So I was in the control room like most of the time,
Yeah.
like doing something, you know what I mean? Whether it's just input, dialing tone
Mm.
for dude, that was another cool thing was like everything that Degrader has done has been super like polished and
Mm.
processed. And this is the first time that we got to be organic and work with like real amps, real drums,
Oh,
real.
wow.
Dude, there was one day that we like dedicated like hours just going through like a cabinet of like pedals and effects and doing different like lead tones and like different effects throughout the album. Like that was one of my favorite days because we came up with like some shit I'd never even like. I didn't even know a guitar could sound that way. You know what I mean? Like some shit that just sounds like keyboards and like
Oh,
like
damn.
literally the record that we're about to put out is everything that I have envisioned for Degrader since I joined the band, like back when I was like fucking 19. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's
So
awesome. Yeah, no, because I was gonna say, because I know that you guys obviously, you've been a little quiet. I looked at your Instagram. You haven't posted, I think, since like August 26th. Obviously that's the marker for an active band these days. Is the last time you posted on Instagram.
yeah, right.
But so is that what? So is that what kind of what you guys are doing? I mean, you got the record done. You're just kind of like, just waiting, not like waiting it out, obviously, but just like kind of like, we'll just gonna be a little mum for a little while, and then.
Considering how the last record went, something that was very important to us this time around was being in complete control of the release. So
Gotcha.
the record has been done for like quite some time. We went to the studio in May, I
Yeah.
think in May, for 2 weeks, and it's been done since like June.
Oh, wow.
So we're in November now. Like I said, we just want like the last time when we did Burn You Burn we didn't even have the full record back when we dropped the first single, which I
Oh,
was like
okay.
not very typical, you know what I mean? But it was like a situation where we wanted to just get a song out. But this time I was like, no, we need to have everything. We need to have all the music videos, all the record
You want
masters,
everything so that we can
everything.
schedule it perfectly. Because,
Exactly. Like
yeah.
in the band for so long, and obviously like when you're younger, you have these like you have dreams and aspirations to be in this huge band playing like everybody does. You know what I mean? That's where you're at. That's why we get into it.
Right.
But as I grown and things have happened over time, I've made some right choices, I've made some wrong choices, and I've adapted to situations, and
Yeah.
now I'm kind of just in it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Creating music and art for so long, trying to appease other people and trying to create
Yeah.
a fan base. This record was really just all about me putting myself out there for my own sake. And just, as a band, we've been a band for so long. Degrader has been an entity for
Like,
like almost,
oh,
like
wow.
almost,
Oh, 10. Oh, wow. Okay.
almost, yeah.
Oh,
Degrader dropped
wow.
the first track either in 2012 or 2013.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that I had saw like 2013 was like the first track or something like that.
I think like August or October. I wasn't even in the band when the first track dropped. Fun fact, I'm like technically not an original member.
Yeah, because you played guitar at first, correct?
Did for a long time, dude. So I joined Degrader like my senior year. I was like 18, turning 19.
Oh, wow.
Uh, Jay, the drummer, he was in it before me.
Yeah.
We were in a band together before that. We were in this band called All Wear Your Crown, like kind of like my first band. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the whole like VFW show thing. We went for it. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving that band, just kind of was done with it. And Jay ended up joining Degrader, and we were still like really good friends. We became like everybody from that band that I was in with for the first time. We're still good friends. And
Right.
Jay was the one that I stayed the closest with. We played video games together and shit. And I remember him hitting me up. He's like, "Dude, Degrader like asked me to come try out." And I was like, "That's fucking dope." Because at the time, like they dropped that one track Reflections, and it was like, damn, this band is heavy. They were the first like really heavy band to
Yeah.
get in the air. I remember that was when like metalcore started to
Yeah.
get heavy. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Before like Traders or like anything like that had like kind of come to fruit. fruition, whatever the word is.
Yeah, fruition. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
So Jay joined the band. He was only 16 at the time. Can you
Oh
believe
my
that?
God.
That's how nasty that kid is. That's how nasty he is.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, the guitarist, like the other guitarist, like never shows up. Like, you should probably just come with me. Like, I'll pick you up. Just come to practice. And lo and behold, that dude didn't come that day. And I remember joking with the dudes in the band at the time, being like, dude, I'm about to join this band. They were like, no way, Liam, no way. Not a chance, because I was such a punisher back then. I was so annoying, dude. 20. I'm annoying now, but I was like 20 times more annoying back then. But I was like, nah, 2 weeks, I'm gonna be in this band. And yo, it happened. It just came together like that. And after time went on, you know, the dudes who had started Degrader got a little older. Their, what was important to them in life kind of changed. And I keep in touch with all those dudes. Like, all the original members, like, they're still my fucking boys. Like, they've all heard the new record. Like, anything Degrader, like, they're the first to know.
Yeah.
We're still good friends. And I remember we dropped our first EP, and that was like the first time for me that like people gave a fuck about like what I was doing musically. Like, I remember the first time we played a show and it was like packed out, and like up until that moment, like anytime someone was at a show watching my band, they were making fun of me. So, yeah, they were just clowning me. So I remember like looking back at Jay and being like, dude, they fuck with us. They fuck with us. Such a dope moment. So we called a band meeting, me and Jay, and we're like, yo, we're on to something here. Like, there's something going on here. Like, people are into it.
Yeah.
So we need to start touring. And it was just kind of a situation where that window of opportunity had like passed by some of the other dudes. Geary, the dude who kind of really started it all, he was like, nah, I kind of like have like, I want to marry my girlfriend and like take my job a little more seriously. So the number one rule was like we were allowed to continue Degrader, but it had to be Degrader. You know what I mean? Like all the dudes that started the band, they're like, you need to continue to be Degrader, because there's a point in time where we're going to change the name and like rebrand everything.
Oh, interesting.
They were like, fuck no, don't do that.
Ah, interesting.
And like make it be what we dreamed for it to be. And the like last really cool thing we got to do with that lineup when I was playing guitars, we played Warped Tour. And that was fucking dope. We played like an uncontested set. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but like our slot at Warped Tour, no one else was playing.
Oh,
no one that would like contest us. You know what I mean? Like, other bands were playing, obviously, but no one that was gonna
nothing in that genre, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. We were the only metalcore band at the time. I think
Right.
Volumes was playing. But like, I think it was right when Mike Barr left the band, so the interest in that band kind of dipped a little bit.
Yeah.
Dude, that was the most people I ever played in front of. No, not the most, but that was like top 5 most I've ever played in front of. That was the moment where I was like, I'm doing something right here. Like, I'm not just wasting my time. Like, this is like, people are into this.
Yeah, and I think, well, I wanted to say, going back to the punishing thing, it's not, I don't like to call it annoying. It's persistence. But
I mean, to each their own. I'm pretty fucking annoying, dude. I don't have any problem.
Well, hey, I'm sure there are some people out there that I probably think I'm annoying.
Either, dude. Just so we're being fucking crystal clear.
Yeah,
that word's fucking bogus, dude.
Yeah, no,
like, oh man, we're gonna like ridicule people for being interested. Like, fuck you, dude. Like,
right, exactly.
I would never call someone who's like into my band a punisher. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally. Yeah, I mean, with us doing. Go ahead.
What the fuck would you be without those type of people supporting you, dude? That's what you need to thrive. You need people that, like, just like borderline, like, will do anything to see you succeed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these bands, some people have like mastered the art of like consumer data, and like, I know some bands that like have like email lists of like the top 10 percentile of people that are like guaranteed to buy something when they post it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you need those people that are so diehard for your band to succeed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially in this genre.
For sure. Because it's so niche and underground, and like it only thrives through community and like people giving a fuck. You know what I mean? It's not like some shit where you can just get like placed like on some pop star shit. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work that way, and it never will.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's interesting. You know, when we started doing like the reaction video kind of stuff, I thought, you know, maybe other bands will kind of think that we're kind of lame, you know, or
No, dude,
but
I actually have
they love that
a
shit.
very strong opinion about you guys doing that. I think it's really fucking cool. One thing that I've noticed throughout this like pandemic and whatnot is a lot of bands have like made the effort to transition into like this new internet like content creator.
Right.
Like you're not a band. Like TrueShot isn't a band to me anymore. It's content. You know what I mean? You got the podcast,
Yeah.
you got your reaction videos, you got your YouTube, and then you have your band on the side. You know what I mean? Well, not even on the side. Like that's the focus.
No, I know what you're saying though, and
Like, you guys are like like Degrader has made no attempt to do that. Like it's not in our interest, which is fine. I think some people are better suited for it than others. Like the Great American Ghost, Ethan has been doing the like E1 podcast.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that shit is like super fucking cool. I just like have no idea how a Degrader would do something like that because we're not the most like personality type band. We're more like, for me, if there's no live aspect to it, I don't even fucking care.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic because it's funny that you say it because like I thought at first, you know, like I said, at first I thought, you know, people would think it was weird, but then all of a sudden, you know, Ronnie Radke's checking out Paradigm on his stream, and I'm just like, what the?
No, you guys are doing everything right now.
Well, go ahead.
I was having a conversation with my cousin, who's very into guitar music, but different side of the world in regards to those things, and we were just kind of talking about COVID and music in general and the industry and, you know, where it's headed. And we both kind of agreed that like the future, like let's assume that like shit never goes back to any sort of,
I think like that. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, if we're being honest with each other, that's how I feel it's going to be. It's unfortunate, but like, I don't imagine like America, like putting themselves in like, unless there's like a nationwide like vaccine that's super successful, we're going to be right.
I don't, yeah. Go ahead,
so
continue.
Said, who's gonna like, as far as like music and entertainment goes, who's gonna succeed from this point on? It's gonna be the people that can, people that own their masters. So we're off that list automatically. Like anybody who's unsigned that owns their own music and has the power to like produce themselves, they are going to like surpass everybody because they don't need anybody's clearance to do anything. They can, you know, produce at the rate that they want to produce. And then number two, anybody that can produce any sort of like live performance in this time. So like Fit for King just did their like album release show. Like that shit is going to succeed big time right now. And then number three is anybody that can provide any sort of like third party content that like provides any sort of like viewership. So like a podcast. I've been trying to do like my Twitch stream here and there, like things like that, like shit that like gives personality to your band. And like kind of like I feel like TrueShot is like a band where like you guys are starting to like personify each single member of your band with their own personality and contribution to the band, whereas like Degrader to me is just like an entity. It's just Degrader, you know what I mean? And people don't necessarily think about it as Ryan, Brian, Josh and Liam, you know what I mean, but more just Degrader. So we're just a music thing. And
no, but I you know, it's tough because it got, I will admit that it did get to a point where we were kind of like, man, do we really want to be like the reaction band, you know, like, but I was like, you know what, like I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, who gives a shit? We're in the entertainment
That's
business.
What I'm saying. There's no, dude, anybody that's gonna fucking tell you how to do you doesn't know shit about you.
Yeah, and
that
I mean,
was the biggest issue that we had for Degrader as a band was as soon as someone else started to tell us how to be us, we stopped progressing. We stopped going. Degrader literally since I joined has been steady incline until that point. We just plateaued. And other people making decisions for us. I was like, yo, you are not us. You don't know how to be us. You don't know what we want to be.
Exactly.
You don't know how to become what we want to be. Only we know that. We've been doing everything our own way, and we've seen all the success we've seen because we've done it our own way.
Right.
Why would you change that for any reason?
Yeah, and
Granted, there are definitely examples of people who just like, no. You know what I mean? You got your masterminds in the industry who just like put shit together and it just goes like that.
yeah.
But it doesn't work for everybody, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know, because I initially I came up with the reaction idea because I was sitting there and, you
That
know,
shit is dope. Who else is doing that?
well, exactly. That's what because I like reaction. Like I watch them to begin with. Like I don't know why. I don't know what it is
I
about
watch
them.
too.
Yeah,
watch them too.
they're just entertaining. You know, but I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, I was thinking, I don't know of a band that's doing this, you know, and two, I'm like, because this is my first band ever. I've never been in a band besides TrueShot.
Really? This is the only band you've ever been in?
The only band. I never even attempted high screams
Dude,
or any.
locked in.
Yeah,
He's locked in.
yeah. So it's like a full steam ahead. But I'm sitting there, and I think the one thing that I will say that benefited me from coming into it later, yeah, because I was 25 when I first started the band, and
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
You've never been in a band, so like, how old are you now?
I'm 20. I'll be 28 in January.
That's fucking insane to me, dude.
Yeah.
I joined my first band when I was like fucking 16.
Yeah, I never did. I was always
Right.
kind of like
I
shy.
wish I didn't.
I was
I
always.
wish I could skip all that shit, bro.
Well, I will. I mean, I do look back and I see like my
Damn, you were never in a band that was like covering Attack Attack in the garage
Never.
or some shit.
never.
Bro, that was us. That was
I
fucking
love
me
that.
today. And we were like fucking damn, dude, we were young as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I remember meeting Jay, the kid who's playing drums for Degrader. I met him. I was like 16. He was 14. The first
Damn.
day we ever had practice together. I remember I like wrote a crappy little song and I like did it with like, dude, I had like a Casio keyboard. I did like the drums on the Casio keyboard. Dude.
That's awesome.
I had like a little like 8-track app on my iTouch.
Oh
And I,
damn.
like, it was so shot. I did like the drums on the keyboard. And then I would do a guitar track. And I remember sending it to Jay and be like, dude, try to like learn this if you can. I walked, dude. He used to live, so I live in Pembroke, which is in the South Shore.
Yeah.
And he lived in this town called Hanover, which is like 15 minutes from me.
Yep.
So, yo, he had like a fucking like a garage that was really like a barn type shape. Think like Fortnite barn. You know what I mean? Yeah, and we would practice in the attic of the barn. In the winter, it was super cold, and in the summer, it was super hot.
Mm.
And I remember, like, the first day I showed up, like, this kid did not talk. Like, he just, like, didn't say shit.
That's funny.
And I was like, you learn the song? I'm like, all right, let's give it a go. And he just, like, plays it, like, way better than I, like,
Oh,
wrote it.
shit.
Like, dude, I was like, dude, whatever I do in music, this kid needs to be a part of it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, so I mean, essentially, I wanted to talk to you about this too, and that what I was saying before kind of ties into this. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, listen, we're just another local band at this point. I'm like, how the fuck can we make people give a shit about us? You know, like, because I think that is something from the outside looking in that I think a lot of local bands. I can speak because we are one technically. That they don't really think of like what is going to make somebody give a shit about what we're doing. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what I thought about like with the reaction videos. But anyways, I wanted to get into that with you about kind of your take on our local scenes. I've never been able to really talk about this with anybody because like I feel like for us, we're never really like discussed in a local scene sense, and I'm fine with that. And I get it, you know what I mean? We're not really part of it in a lot of ways,
right.
I guess.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have a lot of different thoughts on this. So
Okay.
for starters, let's establish first and foremost that like the scene
Yeah.
as a whole is like an internet-based community.
Right.
Where a lot of people are interacting via Twitter, Facebook, whatever have you. And I feel that is where a majority of local hype for bands is generated.
Right.
You'll notice, and this applies to like local scenes everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It's not just here. Having toured a lot and meeting a lot of people, like I know so many people in certain areas that I like know their scene in a sense. You know what I
Okay.
mean? When you tour frequently enough and you meet enough people and you kind of like wedge your way in their friend groups, you kind of understand that it works the same way everywhere.
Right.
Where, you know, you have your friend groups and someone within the friend group starts a band of some sort, and everybody in the friend group supports the band regardless of what they sound like, and the band gets bigger because, you know, they're accepted within the community.
You're right.
And not that I have anything against the scene mentality, because I, you know, was very active in the scene for a long point.
Right.
And I think that definitely contributed to Degrader's success. We were very involved with the scene.
Gotcha.
And trying to curate, you know, scene accept. You hear that? My bad.
No, it's all good. Bro, I was surprised. I was surprised I haven't heard my cat meowing yet. This cat is a loudmouth.
Oh, he's gonna go to the bathroom. I gotta get him one second.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, there we go.
I've got Curtis.
What's up, Curtis?
He's a good guy.
I love the way that dog looks, plus the name Curtis. I don't know why. It's just
dude, we do human names.
I love it.
It gives them a little more personality than they would normally have. So yeah, I feel like lately, within the past 2 years, I've like kind of like distanced myself from that type of like from the scene.
Gotcha.
Only because I feel that a lot of like what is like I said earlier, a lot of like what is popular is like kind of curated. And as far as like getting people to give a fuck about your band, there's like two ways to do that. And one is to either just like kind of be on the in crowd. I've seen it time and time again where like a different band from wherever in the country, you know, gets a ridiculous amount of hype because they have the right people in the band who are friends with the right people, and the band's fucking dog shit. It happens all the time. So, I mean, you could spend your time being fucking bitter over that and be like, why doesn't people fuck with my band? Or you could just like literally just put something good out. That's the best way to that's the best way to get people to fuck with your band, is just put something fucking good out. Like so many people, I've been in this shit for so long, and listen, I know where I'm at either. Like, I'm not like trying to like gloat like I'm like some higher up on doing these like big fat ass tours. I just mean more in the sense that like I have seen how people interact with each other in terms of scene community, both from showgoer and from band member standpoint. So many people get fucking hung up over like, why did this band get this show and not us? Why did this band get this tour and not us? Bro, because you haven't fucking put anything good out. That's why. That's fucking why. And it was like that for us. We hadn't put anything out at one point where we were getting, you know, good opportunities until we did.
Right.
The best way to get people to give a fuck is to just put something out that people would give a fuck about. You know what I mean?
Dude, perfect.
It's easier said than done. You can never predict like what people are going to be into or like what they're going to fucking get down to, but you know, you just gotta kind of do things your own way, and if people are into it, they're into it, and if they're not, well, I don't know. I'm at a point personally where it doesn't even fucking matter to me if people are into what Degrader is doing or not. Because like I said with this last record that we just did, like it was for me to be able to go. Like I look back at that record, and I'm like, damn, there is not a single thing I could change. I wouldn't change the experience that everyone went through while we were making it. I wouldn't change a single note on the whole record. You know what I mean? I look back at that and I'm like, damn, I went in and I did it. And that was what I wanted. And if people fuck with it, that's cool. And if they don't, it doesn't matter because I fuck with it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, if you feel the best that you possibly can about that, there's nothing more you can really do. You know, I mean, that's really what what can you do?
Especially considering like the like current status of the world outside us, where there's like no guarantee that we're ever going to get to return to the shit.
I
You know
know.
what I mean?
I
Why are you
know.
gonna get why are you gonna get so hung up on other people's opinions at a time like this? It just doesn't
Right.
make any sense to me. I'm just like I've been doing it for so long that I'm just happy that I get to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And there was definitely moments in time where it could have ended, or could have been pulled from me, or we could have called it quits. And
Right.
we saw through a lot of those moments, and especially me, Ryan, and Jay, who have been kind of the core of the band for the past like 5+ years.
Mm-hmm.
Really been through a lot together, and I think a lot of the hardships that we faced together have like kind of brought us close together as a band, and have made it enjoyable. I can say that like even though we haven't really gotten to play shows much this year, we did do a tour this year with Dead Culture.
Yeah. I
Dude,
remember.
that tour that we did, I went into that tour like we hadn't done anything. You know what I mean? Like that whole year, and then I was like, we need to tour. We just show the world that Degrader, like we're in this bitch right now. You know what I mean? And I went into that tour with like the lowest expectations, thinking I was gonna play to nobody every night, and it was fucking lit. It
Damn.
was fucking so sick. I was blown away by the turnout of every show, minus like one or two duds. We played Super Bowl Sunday. That show sucked.
Oh well, I mean,
That was
yeah.
like the only show that like sucked.
Yeah. I mean,
Every other show, I was like, this is why. Where are these people coming from? Like Degrader is in this bitch. That's how
yeah.
I felt, dude. And then we came back from that tour, and we fucking then I saw you like a week after that tour, and then COVID hit. And we did a record, and despite all that, like this has been the best year of being in Degrader. Like I'm so excited about the bands, and like I'm excited about our record. I'm excited about all our music videos, and like I think we're on the cusp of something cool. You
Dude,
know?
I'm stoked to check. I'm stoked, man. Like, cause like I said, I didn't really know what you guys were up to. I know that you put out those 2 tracks. I was like, huh, I wonder. That's what I was most interested
As
in
far
talking
as
to you
like
about.
social media presence goes, I'm such a firm believer in like we'll say something when we have something to say. A
Yeah,
lot of bands are like very like we need to post every couple days or so, like to keep people active on our social media. Like I've said, a lot of bands have adjusted really well to the COVID era, and like being internet bands, it's just not on my radar. Um,
gotcha.
you'll hear from me when I need to tell you something, and I think that the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
when that time comes, I think people have a good reason to look our way.
yeah.
I'll definitely show you something. I'll when we're done with this, I'll slide you a link. I'll let you get a track.
All right. Yeah, I mean, if you'd like, yeah. No, I mean, but I think I still think that kind of thing is cool though. You know, like the kind of, the mystique of it all. Like I think that there's still something to that. I think. At that point, for us, it would be kind of weird, but
Yeah, you guys have been so active that if you just went cold turkey, people would be like, "Hmm."
yeah, yeah, and I enjoy it, but I do like the mystique thing, like because like my favorite band is Amur, and I think Frankie is probably the epitome of mystique.
Of mystique, he
Yeah,
is, dude.
like he did, like the dude, like
That dude is a cool dude.
yeah, he was the first episode on this podcast. I was like,
Really?
I was like, I'm starting this podcast off big. I want that guy because I love Amur, and I think a lot of it has to do with I think just Frankie just being like, there's all like this like. He's not like posting on Twitter every 5 minutes, or he's like
He's a very low key dude.
yeah, and it's interesting to me because it's very different from who I am. So I think
That's something that we've kind of adapted. So this new kid joined the band right when Ryan left.
Mhm.
This new kid from New Jersey, Brian, ended up joining the band to play bass.
Okay.
And shortly after our most recent tour, like maybe a little bit after we were in the studio, we parted ways with Carl. No hard feelings. He's just kind of focusing on Viridian, and
Oh,
we're just
okay.
focusing
Yep.
on Degrader. And we pulled Ryan back. But something that we've kind of adapted, like from Brian. Brian's a very like low key dude, and he's in another band called Indie Ghost, which is like kind of like one of those like issues like R&B metalcore type bands.
Interesting. Okay.
And they're super low key, so we've definitely kind of like adapted that like style from him, and something that like I've kind of been about. more recently, I deleted like my fucking Twitter, and I like barely post on my Instagram or Facebook anymore. I just like kind of, dude, I think this shit is so volatile
Oh,
now.
it is, dude.
So fucking bad for my mental health. Like I'm literally just
Yeah.
like scrolling. I had to get off Twitter. I was like, this shit is bogus, dude. There's nothing on here. Like I've never gone through Twitter and be like, this makes me feel good.
Yeah, this is thought provoking.
Yeah, right. This is fucking.
Dude, it is it's tough. But I was gonna so with that, I mean, I know that you guys are obviously on a label. Are they cool with that? Like, because you would think that they're kind of like, all right, you guys have got to make everybody stay engaged for as much as you can, and you got to look at the
No,
Instagram
dude,
analytics.
dude,
And
I run all the social media accounts, so nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Like everybody has a password, so if they want to post something, they're more than welcome to. It's just like nobody cares. We just all feel the same way about it, where it's like there's no like. It's not like people are foaming at the mouth to hear what Degrader has to say.
well, hopefully they will with the next record. You know, I'm looking.
We'll see.
I'm looking forward to how you guys release it and structure it. I find that stuff super interesting. Like, you know, like Acacia Strain just did like the most interesting release I've ever
Dude,
seen.
they did.
Like,
I will say this: it is a concept record. Like it's a whole like,
cool,
an overarching concept to it, which
cool.
is something that I've never done before. So I was super pumped to do it this time around.
That is really cool.
So I think we haven't even really dived into too deep about how we're going to release it, but I know that when we do, it's going to be very cool. All our videos are done, and like we're really just waiting on the artwork right now. So like
Interesting.
We're in the home stretch right now before we start releasing it. I don't know if 2020 we'll see it. I feel like it'll be early 2021.
Yeah.
But I do know that when the rollout begins, if you care about Degrader, you're going to be very interested, and if you've like kind of been on the fence about Degrader, you're going to be reeled in, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked because, like I said, I mean, there are definitely some tracks I like more than others, but I mean, you guys have, you know, like that sound that I look for. I love like that heavier side of metalcore. Because like I mean, just in my own band, we've toyed with it a little bit, but I believe me, if I knew how to play a guitar, this band would be fucking down-tuned 9-string guitars. Just
dude, we've actually progressed away from that stuff on the newer record. Where,
interesting. Okay, all right.
A lot of metalcore is very centered on like if it's tuned low, it's heavy. But, like music is so much more dynamic than that.
It's true.
Like, dude, you know who I think the heaviest band is?
Who?
Counterparts.
Interesting.
What do you think makes a band heavy? In your opinion?
Well, so I think for me, I think there's two sides to it. I think obviously one of it is sonically, just I mean you hear it and you're like, oh, that's heavy. But also I think the other part of that is the emotion that is like evoked from yeah.
That's why I think Counterparts is the heaviest band for both of those reasons. They have moments, and I don't think that like sonic heaviness necessarily means low and slow.
No,
I think it means like song structure and the way you build up a particular moment, and the way you break down that moment,
right?
Because like the breakdown is the epitome of like boom, on your fucking song. You know what I mean? So if you can combine the emotional, dude, I'm a pretty emotional dude, and there have been a couple of times where I've seen some live bands and been like moved to tears. I remember watching Counterparts. I took my brother to go see them on one of the private room tours.
Yep.
And they were playing. I was like slowly moved to tears, just being like, "This is so good."
Yeah.
They're really working the crowd, and like, I just feel awful. Like as far as like emotions go, I just feel terrible. Like I just feel like every mistake I've ever made is weighing down on me.
This is very introspective for me. But,
yeah, so I feel like we tried to consider that in the writing of the next record, where like a lot of the heaviest moments on the record are lyrically driven because of the like overarching concept, and I'm so excited for like people to like kind of get a glimpse of that, because it's been worked on for time.
Damn.
And I kind of came up with the concept of the record like accidentally, and then it just kind of stuck. And then the theme of the record and what the concept was about kind of came a little bit afterwards. And I was like, shit, I'm writing about that. I wish I could like be a little more descriptive to you
Yeah.
and give you the details, but because we're not in the rollout phase yet, I can't. But
Yeah, no, that'll be interesting. Yeah, no, because as much as I like the heavy, the dun dun dun, it gets kind of boring after a
I don't
while.
fuck with that.
It's just like, all right, like
Dude,
dun.
on the low, people wouldn't expect this, but I feel like Counterparts is the biggest influence for Degrader right now.
Really? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
dude, I could like point out like examples of where we've like ripped them off or like taken direct influence, but like, dude, we've kind of just like a lot of bands, especially in our like scene and like realm of heavy music. A lot of bands have like adapted like the like slam hardcore type
Yeah.
thing, but we've always like focused on the more like melodic type,
Hmm.
like my dream bands to tour with, dude. If I could pick three,
Yep.
like Moss to Flames is number one.
Okay.
Easy.
All right.
Fit for King, number two,
Yeah.
and then Kublai Khan, just because it would be sick.
Ooh, that would be sick. No, Fit for a King would be a good one. I'd say our band is very driven by I know Adam loves August Burns Red, so
Dude, yeah.
yeah.
Didn't that guy react to your
Yeah,
song, too?
yeah. So
That's fucking dope.
yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. So
crazy.
needless to say, when that happened, Adam was just couldn't. He like was just lost for words. But yeah. But nah, man. I think I'm stoked. I mean, I am definitely stoked to see what you guys come up with. I mean, I know that you want to get on Twitch, so I'll let you go here. The one thing that I did want to ask you about before I get you out of here, though, I kind of wanted to bring it up a little bit earlier, but so I know that we were talking a little bit about if the world gets back to normal. What do you think about the shows going on?
We're ripping gigs.
Yeah.
Let gigs be ripped, bro.
Yeah?
Every day.
So,
well, finish up. What
I was gonna say, what do you think about the gigs being ripped right now?
Bro, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I do think it's interesting though how like there's like a lot of people complaining that they can't play shows, but as soon as they see a show being played, they throw a fit.
I gotcha.
Here's my ultimate opinion on this.
Gotcha. Go.
What fucking show are you gonna play right now that's gonna help you at all?
Well, so that dude, literally, like I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, okay, just from a strictly just like a business point of view, right? So like, one, you want exposure or money or both. So if you're playing a show right now, you're not getting exposure because who the hell is gonna go? And two, these local bands ain't getting paid shit to play. So, like, what the fuck is the point?
I don't know, dude. I really don't understand it, dude.
It's like,
dude, it's like mad frustrating to be in a band that like is active most of the time and tours very frequently. To see these bands playing shitty shows, like for what?
Yeah.
For what?
I mean,
no labels foaming at the mouth to sign you because you fucking played a show during quarantine, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you play it at an ice cream parlor behind plexiglass. I mean, who the fuck gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, with all due respect, I mean, hey, like, I mean, I get that, some comedians are doing stuff, but they're getting fucking paid at least. You know what I mean? Like, and like,
Dude, like I said earlier, I think the people that are going to dominate this pandemic time are people that can do live stream shows.
Well, yeah, and like,
or like audio tree type sessions, live studio sessions, dude.
Right.
That shit is going to dominate right now.
Yeah, and when you say live stream, you don't mean put the iPhone 11 on a stand and just rip an amp in half, because...
No, but I've done that before. Degrader's done that a time or two.
Oh, man. But no, I don't... Because, I mean, we haven't, like, toured or anything, but I will say, like, we have some opportunities that are kind of in the works, but it's like, you got to wait for stuff to be, sort of normal again. And
sure.
It's just like when I see like bands like play, I'm just like, dude,
my brain,
I'm like, what?
Gets smoother every day over that.
I don't get it. Like, there's literally
get it at
no
all,
gain.
bro.
None. Like, the only gain is, like, lifting the amps
Like
for...
ego stroke, bro.
yeah,
like,
but even then, it's like, but anyway, I don't know. I could talk to you about that forever, but...
to each their own, bro.
I mean, hey. But, all right, man. Listen, I'll let you get out of here. If you want to send me, I'll check it. The secret's
I
safe
will.
with me.
I think I
You know
need
what?
to,
I'll
like,
tell you what. Just so you feel better about it, I'll send you our track. So that way,
I'll
you
trade
know.
you a single for a single.
Yeah,
I'll
so
take
just in case I leak yours to Metal Injection, you can turn around and do the same. You know what I mean? But,
yours is going on Lamb Goat, bro.
oh, no, not that comment section, bro. I'm sending yours there. But, but all right, man. Liam, listen, man, I usually come into these interviews with notes prepared, just kind of, but I came in cold, and I just wanted to talk to
I
you.
knew we were gonna have a good conversation, dude. Every podcast I've done up to this point has been like very like laid out what we're gonna talk about. I knew our conversation was gonna be very fluid and
Yeah,
off the top.
it's just something about it, man. I mean, I know that we haven't really talked before, but I just kind of got that feeling. I was like,
You got that charisma, baby. You know what it is.
But listen, man, when this is kind of back to normal and we're not playing ice cream parlors behind plexiglass and people sitting 18 feet apart from each other, we got to play a show together, okay?
Hell yes.
All
It'll
right.
happen, my dude. I
All
promise.
right. Not an ice cream parlor, though. I'm not playing that.
No, fuck no, dude.
No, but anyways, man, I'll talk to you later,
Yeah,
and
dude.
I'll fire over that single to you. I want to hear your thoughts.
For sure.
I want to
Give
hear
me a link
yours.
on Facebook. I'll hit you with one of mine.
I got you, bro. You take care. Liam from Degrader, everybody. Make sure you
Peace
check
out,
out their
dude.
new record, new singles, everything when it comes out, and be on the lookout for an Instagram post because you never know when it'll come.
You never know. It's months from now. Easy, Rich, dude. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Peace, brother. Thank you so much for listening to the True Shot Guest Spot podcast. If you've made it this far, we really, really appreciate you. And make sure you head on over to all the links in the description. Follow Liam, follow Degrader, and also follow True Shot everywhere. And if you would like to support us and keep stuff like this going, you can join us on Patreon. The link will also be in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.